Hello, everybody. Welcome back to She's Got Muscles, the podcast with girls, the podcast for girls with gains. Lots of words. Happy to us, it's Friday. You guys are listening on Monday. Another week gone by. Another week to start off strong, especially with our topic today, which is
bulking season.
Bulking. So bulking can be called off season. It can be called like muscle gaining season. But go a little bit deeper on like what is bulking or off season. Like what's the main focus during this time?
So on bulk season, we're going to concentrate on gaining muscle. So with gaining muscle means nutrition. With gaining muscle, what actually that means to you, Sandri?
So for bulking, I mean, your biggest goal is to gain muscle, like you said. So this is the time for growth. Growth mentally, which we'll talk about at the very end, but specifically growth in terms of your body, your muscle. This is where you start to like shape. A lot of people think that they get the shape that they want just by cutting and dieting and losing all the body fat. But you know for sure that the most important time is
Bulking
this time.
season. So bulking season is where the real work starts. Not in your cutting season, and cutting is hard, but it's the bulking season because you're actually eating more, lifting heavier, which we're going to go more deep into that. I think our next topic is going to be nutrition.
Yeah. But before we dive into nutrition, does everybody need to go through a bulking phase?
No, this is all depends on your goals. What do you actually want in your fitness?
So if my goal, let's just say, for example, or somebody comes in with a goal of they just want to lose weight and hit a specific number on the scale and be a little bit thinner than what they are, do they need to go into a bulking?
No, if they don't want to.
Not if they don't want to. Now, let's say we got somebody who wants to just lift super heavy in the gym, like a power lifter or something. Are they going to go into like bulking and cutting seasons?
No, actually, no. They actually need to eat a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
Their main focus is to be stronger and stronger. So they're going to have a specific diet. I don't even like the word diet. They need to eat specific foods to get the strength in their body when they're lifting because you're not going to be 150 pounds and trying to lift 400 pounds.
Yeah, that's very true. So bulking or off season or just this period of time, people who want to strive for a specific muscle mass image or a specific body image where more muscle or more volume or mass is needed on their body. So the people who want the big booties, they might need to go into a bulking season.
Yes.
People who want the what I call the upside down Dorito body. The where you got the big upper body, the big shoulders, the big lats,
Sometimes bulking-
quads, big quads. So if there's a specific body part that you're wanting to grow, this would be a good time.
And I feel like a bulking is not for everybody, but it's important. If you want a good body composition, not everybody has good genetics. So sometimes some of us don't have the booty or don't have the legs, or some people have more upper body than lower body. So you want to like shape it out with weights. How that works, you got to eat the right stuff to shape up your body, the hourglass figure.
So now going into eating, because nutrition is going to play a huge part. I would probably say nutrition plays 80% of your bulking / off season. Wouldn't you
Yes.
agree? Okay. Yeah.
Sadly, we're in bulking season right now.
Yeah, so we're in off season / bulking season, both of us. So we're, our main goal is to get as much muscle as possible before we go into another deficit. Because that's, when you gain all this muscle and then you go into a deficit, that's where you start to actually see the definition and the lines and the news,
So elaborate a little bit about that, Sandri, because you've been in off season longer than I have been. What is your goals with the off season?
My goal specifically, I know when I stepped off stage in November and I asked for judges' feedback, which you can do that after you show, you email them nicely. You ask them, hey, like, is there anything I can improve upon? And a big one for me was growing my glutes. And obviously, as a bikini competitor, glutes and shoulders. We hear more glutes, more shoulders, more glutes, more shoulders, more glutes, more shoulders.
Like every day.
Like every single day. Glutes and shoulders, glutes and shoulders. So those have been what I've been hitting hard the most. I mean, you've seen me, my 3 booty days a week.
And this girl is looking great.
So yeah, so we've grown the booty, trying to grow the shoulders. But those are my specific goals for this off season. What are your specific goals?
Very similar. I really need to concentrate on my hamstrings because I barely have any. My glutes, I think I have a but a child whenever I went to stage coming through. In the feedback was, grow your glutes. You need a good off season. You need to eat a lot more because whenever you're cutting, you need to cut something. If you don't have nothing to cut, you just gonna look too skinny.
Yeah. So when we're talking about like cutting and stuff, and just to give our listeners and everybody a little bit more of like information on what we're talking about, when you grow a specific muscle, or let's say we don't grow a muscle, let's say you are just like an average person off the street, and you might have like a little round booty, right? Most of it might be body fat.
That was me.
Yeah,
that was me.
As an example,
I was 100 before I started my cut in December. I was 145 pounds, and I thought I have a good booty. I thought I have a good mass to lose, and I went down to 114 pounds. It didn't have much muscle there to show.
Yes.
I mean, I did have some because I've been working out, right? And I've been working with my coach, but not what I needed to go to the next level.
Yeah. So if you don't have that muscle to begin with, or not enough muscle, when you start to lose body fat, you might start to see certain body parts start to shrink just in the basis of you're losing body fat over top of those specific areas. So if you are like a person off the street, haven't trained glutes or anything, and you start to lose body fat, you might see that your booty is getting a little bit smaller than you would like. Now, on the other side of things too, and this is something that my coach, we had a conversation about because I was on the cusp of deciding whether I wanted to do bikini or wellness. We had a conversation about...
Explain what is wellness to them.
So bikini, if viewers or listeners don't know, bikini, you're looking for an X frame, very balanced, upper body balance with lower body. You don't really, everything is super balanced, proportionate, very fitness model. It's just a very specific look. Shoulders aren't going to be super overpowering. Legs aren't super overpowering. Everything is just like so beautifully proportionate. Yeah, that's the goal.
They're looking more for the lines.
Yes. Now with wellness, on the other hand, especially today, now that we're seeing wellness, because wellness is still a very new category, we're seeing wellness really big lower body, quads, glutes, hamstrings. There is now an imbalance. It's one of those categories that have an imbalance. Figure is another one of those where the imbalance is a little bit more on the upper body, the martini glass look.
Yes.
But wellness is going to be an imbalance in the lower body. Now, because I did horseback riding for 15 plus years, which when we did our All About Me podcast, I talked a little bit about that, but I came with a lot of muscle already in my lower legs because when you horseback ride, you have to have a lot of muscles in your lower body, your calves and all of that. So I was kind of on the cusp of my legs were just too big for bikini in terms of how my upper body looked in proportion. So we played around with bikini and wellness, and after I did my show, I had to sit down with my coach because obviously I would love to go pro. I have really big dreams for this sport. And the pros have a lot of muscle on them because they've been doing this for years and years and years. And she said something very profound to me because when I first started my little bodybuilding journey, sprinkle into the world, I even thought about maybe doing figure because they're like super muscular, super beautiful women.
And why not?
And for me, I didn't know a lot about the sport. The person that I saw in a video was a figure girly, so I thought I was going to be a figure girly. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I had a conversation with her of kind of what we wanted to do, what we wanted to strive for in terms of big goals. And she says, okay, you're thinking of the image on stage. You also have to think about the other 360 days that you're not on stage when you do have healthy amounts of body fat over top of that muscle. So when you grow a muscle, let's say your glutes or your legs, specifically, let's say in wellness, we're growing really, really big legs. Okay. When you're on stage, they're shredded. They look great. Now you're going into off season. You need a healthy layer of body fat.
This is
hormonal
all real
regulations.
body.
Yeah, like
This is a whole real body. Like, and I think that's what people don't understand when it comes to that, because they see all shredded, like, oh, you let yourself go. No, this is a competition. We do this for a competition. So
you can't look like your stage body every single day. So we talked about, you know, how is that body going to look off stage in off season in just normal daily life when you have body fat over top of it. And she was like, would you be okay with having these really big legs? Now add some body fat on top of it. You're not going to see those shredded lines or anything. They're going to feel a little bit bigger. You know, when you're in figure, same thing, your upper body gets a little bit bigger. And to me, I was like, I don't think I would be 100% comfortable in my own body with that much muscle mass and then some healthy body fat over top of it. Now, does that mean that we're shaming anybody or saying these person? No, that's just personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
It's really
with that.
What we just said like about 5 minutes ago is depending on your goals, what you want to try to accomplish in your fitness or how you want to look. Bulking is not for everybody. Deficit is not for everybody.
Yeah.
So, but we're explaining what bulking is good for some people.
Yeah. So she had me, we had that conversation, and she even had me go to some of the influencers out there, because a lot of the times the influencers will only post themselves in their shredded season. She's like, see if you can find some competitors in both categories, bikini and wellness and even figure, find pictures of them in their off season, look at their body, see how it looks. Is that something that you could feel is attainable to you? Do you feel like that's something that you could walk around every day, feel comfortable, feel confident? And I was like, okay, so now I'm getting a sense of, a lot of the times I was like, I'm going to be a wellness girly because I came with already bigger legs. But then we found out I carry a lot of my body fat in my lower body. So when I shred down, my quads aren't actually that overpowering because I shred the body fat off. So that is also something, your off-season body, your shredded body. I mean, there's so many factors that go into it all.
Yes. So with shredding and bulking, let's talk about nutrition.
Yes, let's really segue into that. We kind of segued a little bit, and then we took like a U-turn train.
Yeah.
But nutrition. So when you're in a bulking or off-season or muscle gaining period in your time, obviously you are going to eat a little bit more calories than if you're on, you know, a diet or on a prep or shredding.
That doesn't mean go and have a bag of McDonald's.
No.
Or get cheeseburgers or go eat Italian. Or you don't do that. That's called dirty bulking. Why dirty bulking is so bad? Can you explain that? Because I get tired explaining it sometimes to people, but like it drives me crazy. People think dirty bulking is okay because it's under my macros.
So dirty bulking is when you are pretty much eating junk instead of whole food. So when you are in a surplus, you are still, you know, trying to strive for your whole foods, minimally processed. You're still eating, you know, chicken, lean meats. Maybe you might, the difference between maybe a cutting diet and a bulking diet is maybe instead of only going for 93 or 99% turkey or ground beef or what that, maybe you're going for 96, a little bit more fat, or maybe you're having some extra potatoes, some more rice, a little bit, maybe it's a little bit more peanut butter or avocados or something. It's still very whole, clean. Still very clean.
You want to make sure you're eating your protein,
Yes.
enough protein. Don't mean things from the street. The way they cook the food in restaurants, it's not going to be the same way you're going to cook it at home.
Yes. And even though a lot of restaurants and fast food places have their macros or their calorie breakdown in those apps, 9 times out of 10, they're not as accurate because that person
doesn't mean you cannot go enjoy life. Doesn't mean that.
No, we're not.
We're not perfect. We're definitely not perfect. We get a cheat meal.
Yeah. It's in this season. You're probably going to be a little bit more lenient. Like you said, you'll have, I don't want to say cheat meals, but you'll probably have a little bit more like refeed meals or free meals. Does that mean you get a free day? Do you get to eat whatever you want the whole day? No.
And I've been guilty of that. Like,
guilty.
We all do. Like, sometimes life happens, but gotta be careful. Like, everything you put into your body is gonna reflect to the outside.
Yeah.
Your face is gonna start breaking out. Like, If you look tired, like everything you put into your body is going to reflect on the outside.
Yeah. Now, if you are, some people like meal plans better. Some people like macros better. I'm a macro person. You're a meal
I'm a
plan
meal
person.
plan person.
Nadia likes to eat the same thing every day. I like a little bit more flexibility, especially in off season. So I know in off season for me, once ever so often, I'll track a peanut butter cup or a Halo Top ice cream bar. Is it something that I can do when I'm cutting? No, but do I make sure that it's fitting in my macros? I'm still hitting my protein goal. I'm still hitting my fats and my carbs. I'm not going over. Yes, but like you said, that stuff does make you feel a little bit gross when your only source in your diet is processed. And also, that also takes a lot away from volume
Yes,
because they're higher calorie for a smaller portion.
that makes much sense. Remember the picture they sent you on the 2 apples and a bunch of marshmallows, and they both weigh the same?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. You pretend like the better food is gonna weigh less.
You're going to be able to eat more
Eat
of
more.
just, non-processed stuff. But when you are in that bulking or off season, if you're coming from a deficit, does that mean you need to go from your like if you're prepping or if you're just on the end of your cut and you're very low calories, very low carbs, should you go balls to the wall?
No,
right into-
no, you got listen, for experience, after my cut, I was so desperate that I got myself sick.
Yeah.
I got just myself sick. Like I went and I haven't had like a crumble cookie in a long
How many crumble
time.
cookies did you eat?
It's a shame to say this. 11 in a day and a half.
That's a lot of crumble cookies. But you need to
It got myself sick.
you
Like
need
sick.
to ease into a surplus or going even to maintenance. Some people can gain muscle in maintenance. You have to go very slowly. So from that cutting or diet, you add a little bit each week until your body can get used to it, your digestive system can get used to it, and then also a lot of the times if you shock your body with like maintenance or a surplus right out of the bat, you'll see yourself gain a little bit more body fat a little bit too quickly.
And that, yep. That's what it could be. It brings me to the next question that we were just talking a little bit ago before we start the podcast. The glue, what is the name of that word in English?
Glycogen.
Yes.
Nadia's coming up. We have a point here. So when you are increasing your calories, your macros, your meal plan, whatever it is, you're increasing your carbs and protein. You want to increase protein, and your carbs are probably going to be the thing that increases the most. You're going to increase fats a little bit, but you're mainly going to increase your carbs.
Protein, mhm.
And with that, you have in your muscle tissue, you have glycogen storages.
I can't say that word in English.
I was a science major, so this is my rodeo.
So explain, please, because I'm learning here with everybody.
So when you have your glycogen storages, when you work out or when you're doing something and your body needs energy, it's going to go into those storages, which are in your muscle tissue.
Okay.
Glycogen storages, grab that glycogen, turn it into glucose, use the glucose for energy to create ATP in a process called cellular respiration. So when you are out of those glycogen storages, when they're empty, your body, and you're still working out, your body is going to still need to find a source of energy and is going to start breaking down muscle tissue, which is why you see when people are going into a super severe cut or super severe prep, you do lose a little bit of muscle mass because you're not eating enough to completely replenish those storages. So you'll break it down a little bit, and your whole goal is not to lose as much muscle, but
To maintain the muscle.
to maintain the muscle, but you will lose a little bit. So when you are in a bulking or in a maintenance period, your goal is to eat enough where those glycogen storages are almost or pretty much full, to the point where when you work out, all it's doing is using those glycogen storages to then help you with your workout so that it is not needing to grab from the muscle tissue, so that when you are working on those muscles, breaking them down, and then they're repairing and all of that, they repair bigger without that like stress of being broken down for like needing energy.
I wish I could explain all of that.
I mean, that's probably not 100%.
But it plays.
It gives you a good
Yeah.
idea of why eating enough is important for muscle growth.
Don't be scared of eating.
No.
Eat.
But when is so us bodybuilders, we know that our pre and post workout meals are probably some of our most important meals.
Yes. You need the energy to lift.
Yep.
No, you don't have any energy. And you don't want to just chuck an energy drink and go buy caffeine, which I do too. But you want to make sure you're eating the right stuff before you start working out and after you're done working out. You want to make sure those muscles are being fed.
Yeah. Again, for those glycogen storages, I, as a nutrition coach, we are taught and told, and we recommend. So before your workout, you want a protein, a carb, and you want a fat. The fat is just going to help with like satiation and feeling full and give you some sustained energy.
So this is very interesting. You say that I can do that. I can eat right before I work out, wait, 15 minutes to start working out, but some people can't.
I recommend for full digestion, you want 30 minutes to an hour before you work out. Especially if you're going to eat a bigger meal and a balanced meal of the protein, carbs, and fats. Carbs are going to give you quick energy. Fats are going to give you sustained energy. So the reason why you're going to have fats before you work out is so that when you're in the tail end of your workout and you've gone through all of the carbs, you've gone through all of the quick energy, you have a little bit of that sustained energy from the fats to keep you going until the very end. Now for your post-workout, you want to eat that house food. I know you know this.
I do it right after.
Right after. But what's the maximum amount of time?
20 minutes.
20 to 30 minutes afterwards. You'll hear people call it an anabolic window. Now, I think there are some science that like...
It's your protein shake. Like I usually do my protein shake right after.
Yes. So you want to have ideally a protein and a carb source right after your workout. Within 30 minutes after your workout, no fats. Because your fats are going to slow down that digestion. You want just, like you said, you can do a protein shake. I like a good chicken and rice because rice is a really easy carb. It gets shuttles into my muscles.
I do my protein shake and Greek yogurt with the rice cake.
Yeah, so you got all that stuff. But those are probably for your goals of muscle building. Probably some of the most important meals. I will also throw this out here just as a fun fact. You want to try not to eat carbs before bed.
No, it's really hard to digest those carbs because your body is not moving.
Well, and carbs are your main energy source. You eat a whole bunch of carbs before bed.
You're going to be awake and dreaming about all kinds of stuff, waking up, going to the bathroom. You don't want any of that.
But that's just a fun fact. That doesn't have anything to do with bulking, but that's just a fun fact.
But it's a very good when you say that because a lot of people like to eat pastas before bed, like for dinner, or pastas or heavy carbs, and that's why you want to keep a clean dinner. Really, you do.
Yeah, just pretty much protein and fats.
So that way you sleep like a baby. Sometimes people complain about why I cannot sleep, why I'm like awake. How you check your nutrition, especially before bed. Don't do the chips.
Chips.
People do that a lot. Yes. It's like really, people, it's just not educated.
No. Well, and we've talked about how nutrition is super important for your bulking or off season. I will say a lot of people, and you get this a lot because you're a trainer too, how many people come in and they're like, well, I can eat whatever I want because I'm working out, or I just did a leg day, so I'm going to go and get like number 5 from the McDonald's because it was leg day.
You cannot outwork a bad diet.
No.
It's still going to show, like, why you want to throw away all your hard work you put at the gym with a Happy Meal? Or we call it Happy Meal.
And then also something, if you don't have a direct plan, a lot of people think off season or their bulking period, they can, like you said, eat whatever they want. Oh, excuse me. Let me just,
oh no.
It's okay.
Something broke.
It's okay. My little watch came off, but a lot of people won't have a set plan. Like they'll have a super strict plan that they follow when they're going into a diet or a cut. But when it's off season, I don't know like what happens to the plan, but a lot of people lose their plan in terms of diet during this time. They feel like they can just eat whatever they want one day, maybe the next day they like skip a couple meals, or they go into they're eating a little bit more one day, they feel bad about it because they're not used to it, then they restrict the next day.
Something I have found out in this, since I've been working from the gym, it's not just your workouts you want to do this. It comes to your lifestyle and how you eat is the word consistency. You want to stay very consistent. You want to keep doing the same things day after another to see results. You cannot eat clean for 2-3 days. Oh, crap, I F this day. Let's come back clean in 2 days. I'm just going to take a week off.
Yeah.
I'm going back on track. Yeah, some things they do that, but you want to have consistency. Consistency is going to bring you results a lot quicker than jump around like a yo-yo.
Yeah, you want to have a plan. Now, the plan might look different when you're gaining muscle versus when you're cutting or dieting, but you still have a plan, and it still looks very similar. I still eat the same stuff that I ate during my cut. I just eat a little bit more of it now.
Same as me. I've been eating the same thing.
Yeah, you just eat a little bit more of it because that will also help your digestion, because your body is going to get used to these foods and it's going to get used to the routine. It's going to work optimally. So when you start yo-yoing, like you said, eating this and then not eating this and then eating something completely different and then your body doesn't like that.
This is why it's like alcohol is so bad for you. And whenever we come to the weekends and it's like, oh, today is for us, it's Friday.
Yeah.
If Friday for most of people look like, oh my gosh, it's been a long week. I'm going to have a few beers, a couple glasses of wine, and grill outside. That's all great in games, but this is going to help your goals?
No. Yeah. So like I tried to limit, again, I try to keep the relatively same plan or food and drinks. I try not to drink even in my off season as well as I do in prep.
I was reading something actually last night about other countries in China. Example, why the Asian people live longer. There are 90-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 100-year-olds looking great. And they were making studies because they eat whole foods almost their whole entire life. They keep a clean diet. They hardly work out. They just keep a clean diet.
That's awesome. Well, in pairing with nutrition, because we can't just eat our way to the way we want to like look or all that. We are a fitness podcast, so we do have to talk about the other side of the coin, which is how do you work out in terms of gaining muscle? What's the best way to work out?
You gotta lift some weights.
Lift some weights. Weightlifting is going to be super important during this time. Using all this extra food, all this extra energy that you have, and putting it into the gym. There was a study I think done, but there was a guy from the Harvard affiliated Spaulding Rehabilitation Hospital. He's a physical therapist. His name is Sean Pedicini. But he said weight training is the best way to keep the muscle mass you have and increase muscle mass you may have lost with aging. So a lot of specialists do recommend weightlifting in terms of just muscle gaining and just keeping,
and
muscle loss to a minimum.
As you age, you will lose muscle.
Yes.
So it's important to keep lifting weights even in your 40 or 50 or 60, even 70 years. I have seen 70 years lifting the weights. I have people in the gym that I work. I got 80-year-olds still. Might be 3 pounds,
but they're lifting.
They're lifting.
And the same guy, Pedicini, also recommends free weights over machines. Although if there are like a balance or stabilization issues, you can still use the machines. But if you're able to do a couple things on the free weights, and when we say free weights, we mean like
dumbbells,
the barbells, the dumbbells, the preloaded barbells. Not like it's not going to be like stuck to a machine.
Yes. With lifting, whenever we're lifting, what do you recommend? Well, we know the answer, but what do you recommend to build muscle? Like a lot of people just want to go and slam some weights. So how do you feel like you making that connection with your muscles?
So you need to have a progressive overload program. And when we say progressive overload, we're meaning something has to be like 1% better each time, whether that is if you're lifting a little bit heavier whether that is your form gets a little bit better, whether that is the mind to muscle connection, which you'll hear thrown around a lot in the fitness industry, which is that connection between you feeling what's being engaged, and making sure nothing else. Like if you're doing a hip thrust, your mind, you're so concentrated on feeling those glutes squeeze and feel sore, and really making sure that you're not feeling it in your lower back. You're not feeling it in your quads. You're not feeling it anywhere else except just that push in those glutes.
So with weightlifting, I have found out that people are a little scared, especially on the females. This example of shoulder press. Shoulder press, when you put your dumbbells right here and you go up, right?
Yeah.
They get so scared because they think this is going to get too bulky and they're going to look manly in their upper body. It's funny, but it's true.
Yeah.
So they go 5 pounds and they go like 1, 2, 3, super fast. I'm like, we're going to go 8 pounds and we're going to go a lot slower.
Yeah.
Because you need to connect this muscle right here.
You want to go slow and controlled. And if you have goals where you do not want to be super bulky, most of the time, if you're just coming into the gym, even if you're in like a little bulking period, you're not going to gain so much muscle that you're going to look and feel manly.
God, it's taking me years to even look some kind of muscle.
Yeah.
It takes time, guys. Just because you come to the gym for a year, especially for the ladies, you're not going to look like a man.
No.
It takes time.
Yeah, it does take time, and it takes science, and it takes trainers and programming and years. So don't be afraid to lift those weights. Actually, lifting heavier will allow you to do less reps, and
Less time at the gym too.
will let you gain muscle more easily. And when we say gain muscle, we don't mean going from like no shoulders to like huge boulder shoulders.
You're not gonna look like a massive bodybuilder and gonna go to a stage in 3 months because you're lifting weights. You're not.
No. If that's not your goal, it's, don't be afraid. But a progressive overload program is super important. Increasing those weights, increasing the mind to muscle connection. I highly recommend having like a journal where you write down your workouts and you write down how heavy you lifted for how many reps. Because with a progressive overload program, I have a lot of people who think that they need to do something different in the gym every single day.
You do not.
You need to find a program, stick with it for at least a couple months, and only change it up.
And I know people
Very
get
rarely.
bored of the same workouts, but trust me, you will not get bored if you do progressive overload. If you actually putting attention at the workouts you are doing each day and challenge yourself and getting better in those same workouts, you don't need any workout. You just need to get better in those workouts. Your form, how you're lifting, and the time that you rest between sets. Really, you don't need that much difference if you actually do this stuff right.
Yeah, agreed. But having a little journal, or even like in your notes app in your phone.
Oh, I wish I had my journal because I had one that come in the other office.
Yeah.
To show.
That just, keeps track of your weight. So if you know that and sometimes I'll write, I'm not as good about it now, but
Actually, she's the one who motivated me to get a journal.
Yeah,
Because I didn't have one.
I would write myself little notes, like if I did, let's say, a shoulder press at 20 pounds and it flew and it was like, wow, I got all my reps done really quickly. I write a little note that says, was really easy. Definitely go up and weight next time if I was on my last set. Or maybe like I went up in weight and let's say I was doing 25 pounds and I was like, whew, this was really hard. I'm going to have to stay on this. So I write little notes because I'll forget.
So, and I learned this with you because I was going really heavy in my hip thrust for a minute and I stopped. And like, I need to go slower.
Yes. You want to stay away from the ego lifting, which is just lifting super, super heavy, throwing form out of the window. You're not feeling that connection. Sometimes just taking a pause, going back, going down a little bit in weight and really making sure that, again, you're feeling everything that you're supposed to engage. If you're doing a shoulder press, you want to make sure you're not feeling it in your neck or your back. You just want to feel it in those arms. You want to feel it in those shoulders. Maybe even just slowing it down with a really light weight, going down, finding your range of motion. This is also a great time to figure out, oh, am I feeling pain somewhere? Sometimes when I do like shoulder presses, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do these 30s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my shoulders feel really bad. I'll go down and wait. I'll go through my range of motion. I'm like, okay, so when I'm right here, ooh, that feels a little weird. Okay, I know that, I can do a little bit extra mobility stuff. I do that. I focus on my range and my form with the lighter weight. And then I'll be able to easily or more easily go up or take those concerns to my chiropractor or my massage therapist.
Which brings me to another point. Whenever we're in this journey of fitness, rest days.
Yes.
Make sure you go into massage if you have those abilities. Chiropractors
or foam rolling, salt baths at home. Even though you're in your off-season bulking period and you're having all this food and you feel this energy and you're like feeling good in the gym, you do still have to take rest days so that your muscles are able to grow.
Rest days are hard for us sometimes.
Because if you're pounding those muscles every single day, 7 days a week, your muscles, so when you work out, you are breaking down your muscles so that when you sleep and when you have a rest day, your muscles have the opportunity to build up. And because you've incorporated a stimulus,
yes,
they are going to try to build up stronger for the next time it receives that stimulus. But if you do not sleep well and you do not take a rest day, those are the times your muscles build up. If you don't do that, when are your muscles going to do it? Like, you're giving it no opportunity.
And thank you so much you mentioned that, because I think a lot of people they get too addicted. You can get too addicted to the gym too.
Yes.
Too much or everything is not healthy too.
No.
You have to listen to your body.
Yes.
If your legs are dying, okay, give it a chill. If you feel like you're draining, you have no energy, you've been doing everything right, your body is talking to you right there and say, hey girl, take a rest day.
Yeah, you can stretch and foam roll. You can take a nice little walk, but definitely going to be super important during this time. So I also want to bring up a lot of people, because they have all this extra calories. And I know if you grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, we were always taught, if you're going to eat a donut, you're going to have to do an extra 20 minutes on the treadmill.
That's a lie.
When you're in a muscle gaining, bulking, or off-season period, you want to lift super heavy, go into the gym, but you want to keep your cardio relatively low. So my coach, or how it's explained to me, is when you're in off season, okay, when you're just in maintenance, you're living life, if you are doing, let's say, an hour of cardio every single day, your body gets very used to cardio. It gets very used to, your heart gets used to it, your body gets used to it. This is now its new normal. Now you want to go into a deficit. You want to go into a cut. You want to shred things out.
You're going to have a rough time.
You're starting at an hour of cardio every single day. Now you have to increase cardio. What are you going to do? An hour and a half every day? That sounds sad, to be honest.
You don't want to do that. That's a lot.
Yeah. So we are both on 20 minutes of cardio. Yeah. Just to keep our body moving, to get our steps in. Mm-hmm. This is called, and it's not we're not running, we're not sprinting. We are doing either on the Stairmaster at a very chill pace, or we're doing an incline treadmill at a chill pace. We're still breaking a sweat. Yeah. But we're not
I'm not too upset about not doing too much cardio.
No.
I didn't like cardio.
She didn't do a cardio correctly.
I don't like cardio, but I did it sometimes.
But when you're doing something like that, that's called low intensity steady state cardio. Mm-hmm. So we're only doing 20 minutes a day, because when we start our prep or we start a new cutting, we're just starting at 20 minutes. So then we could probably increase it to just 30 minutes. And then we have a range. Yes, we'll probably eventually get to the hour of cardio, but we have a while before we get there. Our starting point is lower.
And I think a lot of people saw me, a lot of people that follow our podcast, they know us. A lot of people saw me in my prep doing all this cardio at the end. It wasn't like that. It wasn't sorry.
Let me just throw my microphone.
We're about to throw things away. It wasn't like that the whole time. It was just the last 6 weeks or something.
But if you started with that much cardio, I can only imagine how much cardio you would need to do at the end. You just be doing cardio all day.
You know how I wasn't so happy at the end. Mm-mm.
But you want to keep cardio low just because it adapts easily. Does that mean you're going to sit on the couch and not do cardio at all? No. But you don't want to be just running constantly. I wouldn't say nobody likes to run, but
Hey, but props to the runners. That's another sport.
Yeah.
That's an athlete.
We're talking
That's an
not about
athlete.
running.
People that like to run because there's a sport for them is an athlete. That's a different type of conversation.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of people call themselves runners because they don't know how to lift. They don't have the proper acknowledge or who to ask for help, and that's why we're here.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Well, our final topic today is now, we talked about the nutrition, we talked about the workouts. Now, the biggest thing with an off-season bulking thing is the mental strength and state that you have to be in. I know I talked about a little bit about this during my intro podcast.
Yes.
When you spend, especially with me who started my fitness journey in like a cut and a prep, which most people do start a fitness journey losing weight. And then once you've lost your weight and stuff, then you have a discussion about,
Gaining weight,
gaining muscle. But you're so focused in the beginning on getting to a certain number, getting to a certain physique, seeing the scale go down, seeing the measurements go down. When you're in this period of off season or bulking, everything goes the opposite direction.
You grow. Which means you grow, you're going to see your legs getting bigger, your glutes getting bigger, your upper body getting bigger. But it's for a reason. So whenever you're cutting, you can see all the muscle, if I say right?
Yeah.
That you've been working on it. But it's hard, especially for us females.
Yes, especially those who grew up in the 90s,
The 90s and the 80s.
But
Yeah.
it's just now recently
Yeah.
that we're celebrating a wider variety of body types. Back then,
It
the
was
skinnier
wrong.
you were, the better you were viewed in society.
And
And
it's-
that's hard mentally after being like
I
growing
grew
up.
up.
in
I
that.
grew up with that. I grew up in Spain, and like this back in the time, the smallest you are, the better. So it was known to 5 years ago that I want to get muscle, but I thought the skinniest, the better. The more classic, the most pretty I was gonna look, the skinny. Now that's not the case.
No, now, like I said, different body types definitely being celebrated. And especially today, I think we're celebrating more muscular body types.
Yes.
Especially in women, which is really exciting. So we're getting that like put into our society. But it's still a huge mental thing to watch the scale go up, even if it is a good thing, seeing your midsection go up. You can't gain muscle without a little bit of body fat. Now,
And
the
it-
goal is to gain as little body fat as possible, but you can't just gain pure muscle without any body fat.
And I say when it comes to the mental stage, when it comes to your journey, make sure your circle is supporting you. They're helping you emotionally. They're not telling you like, oh, you're letting yourself go, or why you're getting a
gotta watch out for
belly.
that.
Or cut those people now. And I say that with all the love. They're not good for your mental health. Cut them off.
Gotta find the people who compliment you on stuff other than just how you look.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a huge thing. Now, with the mental strain that can come from seeing the scale go up, I work at an all-women's gym. We have a lot of ladies who come from, they've never worked out, they've never lifted a weight. They have a certain, number on the scale coming into it. If you've never, lifted a weight or done any type of weightlifting or strength training, what we see 9 times out of 10, they see the number on the scale go up
And
because they're gaining a lot of muscle right out the bat, because you gain a lot of muscle when you just start out a weightlifting or strength program. And I will have ladies in my chair sobbing because of this number that went up. And what we do in our establishment is we have body scans, and you have body scans in your establishment as well, that show the breakdown of muscle mass and body fat. I highly encourage my ladies to get, before they start, or when they're just starting, to get a scan, so that we can then, instead of just looking at the stupid weight number.
Other thing is important. I want to bring that up.
As she
Pictures.
interrupts me.
Sorry. Pictures don't lie. Pictures.
Yes.
Pictures.
Pictures are important, but the scan, I'm going to go back to my
To the body
original
scan.
point. But the body scans, because they tell you body fat and muscle mass. So if they get one really early on, when we have another one in a month or two, I'll have ladies focus on that number, sobbing, crying that number went up, the weight number went up. But then I'm able to show them, okay, yeah, that weight number went up, but you gained, let's say, 3 pounds in pure muscle and even dropped 2% body fat.
But they don't see that.
They don't, because we are conditioned on one number.
Yes.
So that's also a really good thing if you struggle, like mentality wise, pictures, like you said, and maybe find an InBody or a eVolt scan or a 360 scan, some type of body scan. A lot of places will have some for free. I know some supplement stores will do some for free. But that'll at least track your progress. So yeah, body fat might go up a little bit, but you can see, okay, was it majority muscle mass or was it majority body fat?
And I do want to point something with body scans. They're not going to be 100%.
Oh yeah, no.
They're not going to be 100%, but it gives you an idea. And if you do it consistently, I mean, the numbers are not going to really lie. And your pictures, take your pictures at the beginning of your journey with the same clothes progressively, because it's so cool to see.
Yeah.
Especially with one of my girls that I've been training. It's so cool to see. She had the same clothes from a year now to a completely different person.
Okay, so the people on YouTube, you guys get a little bit of a treat. Because you guys get to see this. And if you follow me on Instagram, which I'm just going to shamelessly plug, you can follow me on Instagram at Fitness with Z, and you can follow Nadia at Nadia
Palencia. Mine is not a professional.
It's okay, but I'm going to show you guys, speaking on weight and pictures.
I want to see this.
Which people of YouTube, this is how I look like right now. I'm going to stand up.
You can flex.
This is how I look right now, okay? There you go. I weigh the exact same as I do
now
in this picture.
She weighs the same now.
I weigh the
as
same as this picture. So when you see that stupid scale go up, I weigh close to 160 pounds. I weighed 160 pounds in that picture. But guess what? Now, most of my weight is coming from my muscle mass. You talked about the marshmallows and the apples. Yes. Go into that on muscle mass and body fat.
So let's example, they have 2 pounds of marshmallows in one plate, and we're going to put 2 apples
in a bag. Probably not. It's not going to fit on a plate. It's going to fit in a bag.
Just imagine
it's a 2-pound bag of marshmallows and a 2-pound bag of apples.
The marshmallows is going to take more space.
Yeah, probably
than the apples.
Like this half of this room.
So you can eat the same amount of calories, but this is going to look a lot softer in your body and take more space than the apples. So the apples are the muscle.
So marshmallows represent body fat on your body. So this huge amount of marshmallows on your body, huge.
It's going to poof you up.
Okay. So it covers a lot of volume. Muscle mass, you said, is the
opposite.
Apples, which are in a smaller bag. We probably can kind of visualize a 2-pound bag of apples. And that's going to sit, it's not going to take up as much space on the body.
No, it's going to weigh the same.
It's
going to weigh the same. They're both 2 pounds, but the apples are going to take less space than the marshmallows.
Because they're more dense.
That's a good point. Yes.
So when you see the scale change, really don't give a flying crap about it, because it can look different based off of your muscle and body fat percentages.
I say only care if you've really been buying your diet.
Yeah.
Then you should be, listen, I'm sorry when I say this word, but you're being asshole eating, then yes, of course, I would not even weigh myself. I understand that, I did bad, But if you're actually doing the work, eating the right things, lifting heavier, and the scale might go up, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
We've just covered a lot of information into this one podcast. We talked about a lot of stuff. We've talked about a lot of, it could be overwhelming to some listeners and viewers.
We can keep talking. Really, this is
we could go on and on and on. Now, for people who are just starting a fitness journey, or maybe just starting bulking and cut, I know I personally would recommend. I know we have trainers.
We are trainers, and we still have our own coach.
Yes, we are. Yep, like you said, we're trainers, and we have trainers for ourselves as well.
It's important, not because we are trainers, we know it all. We still get our own coach to have the accountability.
Yes, it's hard trying to do your own meal plans and your own workout plans. It can be. Some people can do it. Some people, it can be a little overwhelming, especially when you're just starting out. So we highly recommend, if you're going in any type of fitness journey, find a trainer. Now, you don't have to find the most expensive trainer. You don't have to put tons of money in it. Do your research.
Yes.
Find somebody who, clicks well with you. Maybe if you can't afford one-on-one, you find group help or, group information, stuff like that. So don't try to go through this alone.
And if you cannot afford a trainer, I mean, plenty of people will help.
Yeah.
Just by a consultation or my gym, we offer classes for free. Well, not just my gym. I think other gyms.
There's a lot of resources out there.
They will help you, or at least point you or guide you to the right direction.
But find that support system. I know we here at She's Got Muscles, if you've made it through this entire podcast and you think we know what we're talking about just a little bit, we do offer training and nutrition. So that's always a place. Even if you just have more questions, if you don't want to just sign up for a full training program, we're not pressuring you into anything. But if you have more questions, because we know this can be a scary time, it's a lot of information. Our email is shesgotmuscles@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to help and offer, that information.
Yes, so it's a community, and I very excited how Kansas City is growing into getting better in health.
Yeah.
For the longest time, the Midwest is terrible with obesity. It's the more and more people want to get healthy, and I think it's our job to guide you, point you to the right direction. So please message us.
Yeah, message us. You can DM us on Instagram. You can comment. You can send us an email. Make sure to follow us on Instagram,
and we have a TikTok. What's the other one I don't do much?
Twitter,
and
YouTube, and all these podcasts.
I think I'm too old for Twitter, but whatever. Some people like Twitter.
Well, that was our podcast. This is She's Got Muscles, the podcast with girls with gains. We will see you guys next Monday.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day.